Okay, we are back. Welcome and thanks for joining me. Before I get started, none of this is financial advice. It never will be. I'm not a financial advisor. What we're going to talk about today is staying calm in the market, number one, and I'm going to show you why. The market is risky, especially memes and that sort of thing. I mean, that's mostly what our group's been playing is memes, because there's just not much movement out of mid caps, high caps. In fact, most of the high caps, a good deal of them had already made their move, and some of them are now correcting pretty hard now. Some of them haven't corrected at all, like Solana. We were talking about that one today. So let's just jump into it, and I'll show you why there's no need to be concerned, about what the market's doing right now, because I'm going to show how it's done it every single cycle so far. And we have to be in the market, right? I mean, inflation's crazy. We're only using the amount of money that we can afford to lose. Of course, we don't want to be using any money for our family or bills or anything like that. But we have to be in the market, because if we don't, then inflation's just going to outpace us. So this is it's a calculated risk, taking these risks that we do. And just remember, what I'm going to show you here today is that anything that you're buying now has a very good chance of having many multiples going back up the other way. So even if you feel like you didn't make much on that first move up, from October, November, all the way to whatever that was, March, April, when I was talking about taking profits, even if you didn't take profits at that point, you can still make some money by buying some of these that are at a discount right now. We'll look at that. Here on my Twitter, if you're not following me, it's at Bike for Sale right here. I posted yesterday that FLM is entering a buy zone, and I think it's kind of still in that area. Could fall further than that, but just understand that it is, and that's Flamingo. Just understand that it is in a buy zone now. Bitcoin continues to chop. I'm going to show this little presidential chart that I made a couple years ago, and where it's at today. And then I made a mention here, which I think is really important. It's kind of what I was talking about just a minute ago. Our Discord group continues to buy our favorite projects at 50, 70, 90% discounts. And even though alts are lagging behind and frustrating a lot of people, and that happens every single cycle, remember that accumulating now has a good chance of making you happy later this year when the next bull leg begins. And what I meant by just be smart about it here at the end is you don't have to go all in. You can buy a little bit now, wait to see if it dips some more, buy a little bit more, because nobody's going to find the exact bottom. If you feel like it's near a support level, then go ahead and take you a starter position, and then maybe add some more later. I mean, that's the way I would handle it anyway, and that's the way I am handling it. And then the rest of the stuff I've been posting the last couple of days just been about Slurf got over the bullish line again, and I think it dipped right back down to it, but it's holding it so far. So let's move on and look at some of the Nansen on-chain queries here that's offered to me by being a part of Nansen Alpha, which is the more expensive Nansen, the part of Nansen it's about 10 times more than the Nansen Pioneer version. So a lot of people are just going to want Nansen Pioneer, and you can get 10% off of that. If you look down in the description below, you'll see there's a 10% discount code. But you have to purchase the yearly subscription, and it has to be an account that you've either never purchased it either has to be a new account or an existing account that you've never purchased a subscription on before. So just be aware of that. But you're looking at, with Nansen Pioneer, you're looking at, I think after the 10% discount, it's either 900 or I don't know, somewhere in there. So you get about 100 off. And then if you end up going for the Nansen Professional, it's about, originally it's 11,000, but it drops it to 10,000. So you save 1,000 there. And that's not for everybody. I mean, that's only if you want access to the Nansen Alpha Discord, which is some insiders and some of the a lot of the Nansen employees are in there too. And then you also get access to hot contracts, which I really need. We need to look at that. We'll take a look at hot contracts here. I think that's what I'll highlight a little bit later. We'll just see what the hottest contracts are right now. But just remember, you can't get this. Let me refresh it. You can't get this unless you have the Nansen Professional, which comes along with the Nansen Alpha thing if you pay for the yearly. Okay, so looking at these queries, the stablecoin indicator showing smart money, whether they're purchasing stablecoins, basically, it's not really taking off like it did back here. It's staying under this euphoria threshold. So, really a lot of the smart money holders are staying risk on, which makes sense. This is just a mid-cycle cool down. There's still another big push. In my opinion, there's another big push to happen if we're going by historical views, and I'm going to show that here in a little bit. We are at the entry threshold for Bitcoin. Anytime price hits this green line up here, it means it's a good price for Bitcoin, to be purchasing it. And it's kind of, it's middle of the road, and I'll show that here in a second. It's not a huge discount, and it could drop some more. It could drop 15 to 30% more. I'll show that on the presidential chart. But if you suspect that Bitcoin's going up to 100,000 or even more, then you would say, yeah, that's a good investment. Let me see if there's any other ones here. So this one, really what I like to look for on this one is this 30-day moving back above the 360-day moving average. So anytime this is curling back up is what we want to see, like right here. This was October 28th. This is when the gaming and really all altcoins were taking off at this point. So see how the purple line was starting to move back up. That's the one that moves a little bit faster on this one. But it's a combination of, well, it's basically a cross of the 30-day moving above the 360-day. And then the other two are 90-day above 360 and 180 days above 360. And we're about midways, like down here you got the entry threshold. This was a great place to be accumulating. And then way up here is the exit threshold. So it's another one of those indicators or metrics that we can use to get out close to the top, or as close as we can. And if we get out, near 20% of the top, I'm happy with that. That's a win in my book. So yeah, if we had to estimate it, we're probably about 50% done with the cycle, but there's still another bull leg to happen. And as far as Bitcoin goes, been talking about it on Twitter and in the Discord. It's holding this support line. It tried to get under it last night. It keeps rejecting at this bullish line. So once we get a full candle close back above, and really at this point I would say it needs to be a weekly candle above, yeah. Because see how these weekly candles keep rejecting there. So we really need a weekly candle above to be sure that next bull leg up is happening. Maybe even a 3-day, huh? Yeah, possibly a 3-day candle would give us enough. But currently what we're looking at is, like mostly what I've been saying, it looks like it's just going to go sideways for a bit. Could go sideways for 2 to 4 months. We don't know. But I am going to show on the presidential chart how history says it could last about that long. And don't be surprised. I mean, if we come back down here to, I don't know, 52K. I mean, it could even come down to, 45K, something like that. I would suspect that is a possibility, just to flush out more market participants. Because remember, the market maker's job is to go and grab liquidity, so they have even more money to play with on the move back up. So that's why price goes up and down. They have to go and grab those liquidity zones. Okay, so here is the presidential chart. And what I want to call out is, notice how from the top here, where it had trouble breaking back above this lower high, that happened twice in a row. So this is the 2016 to 2017 bull run. I think that's right. Well, I guess you could call it 2015. And this is the 2018 to 2021. And notice how it dipped about 35, 38%. It was a quick wick on this one and then came right back up. And this one was more sideways mostly and only did about 23%. We've had mostly 20% dips in this cycle, currently. They've all been around that area. So it is possible that could happen. But yeah, I mean, to me, it looks like it's rejecting. There's a lower high right there. You know, could come down as much as 34%, but I doubt it. I would suspect more like 30%. What would that be? 46K. I don't even know if it would get that low, but it could. You know, it could even stay around 50K. But if for some reason it doesn't come all the way down here, it could just go sideways. You know, it could go sideways longer and then finally break out. But I suspect after the presidential election, at the very least, we would be seeing, you know, that move up. And then if we consider how many days that took overall from having to the US election date, let's just see what that was. So that's 119 days on that one, 175 on that one. And currently we have 147 days to go at the most, in my opinion. So yeah, these are pretty close. I mean, this one was much shorter. This was 175. If this one works out to be the same as this one, then, you know, they'd be real similar. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking on that, and that's why I'm not concerned. You know, as long as we stay here above like 42K, I think we're fine. A lot of people are saying, well, if we fall under 50K, it's probably a bear market, and I don't believe that. Yeah. I think 42K is okay still. Yeah, that looks okay. All right, so talked about Virtue Poker. You know, I just wanted to go over, you know, some of these tokens. We were talking about, well, what if they're 50%, 70, 90% down? You know, is the token dead, or is it a good discount to be buying at? Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at all this support right here on VPP. Now, if it was to close like a daily candle below support, I'd be more concerned. But so far it looks fine. This one was down 99%, and it didn't have a full bull cycle. The last time, well, I'm assuming that it launched around December 2021. I'm actually not real sure about that. But assuming it launched somewhere around there, then it didn't have a full bull cycle. So these are the ones I'm looking for that have already retraced quite a bit, and then they're starting to form solid market structure again. You know, so you lost all that support. It's now resistance, but it broke through resistance, and now it's trying to turn it to support again. And you could even do something like this and say, you know, maybe there's some kind of inverted head and shoulders it's doing there. So I'm already in this one, but just be aware that it is a pretty solid token to be in, fundamentally speaking. If you watch the videos on VPP, it's a good idea to be invested in that one, I believe. Okay, let me think about what else I wanted to talk about here. Oh yeah, a friend of mine that's actually in the Discord also talking about QUBIC here. I just wanted to bring this up, and then I'll talk about QUBIC. Talking about the game never changes, max fear is bottom signal, max V40 is top signal. And we saw that when QUBIC was trying to lose a zero, I had told people, you know, here's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to dip back down. And that was, I'll see if it'll bring it up here. Yeah, there it is right there. So this is on February 26th, before it had even gotten near that top. And it ended up pushing just a little bit above this. But I was saying if it tries to lose that zero, there's a chance it could come right back down. And I was obviously wrong. It went much further down than this, but usually there's at least a 50% retracement, and that's what I was expecting. But the point is, when things are real euphoric, you do have to let your winners run for sure, but you don't have to take it all out immediately. And I left some in right here as a long-term bag, but I took my profits out of the short-term bag. So I was kind of like 50 in, 50 out, but just think how much more QUBIC I can buy now, because now it's way down. So yeah, you have to be careful with it, because you could lose out on a lot of profits as well. But if you feel like there's a lot of euphoria, at least start thinking about it. You know, maybe take even, if it was me, maybe I'd take even 10% profit, maybe not all of it. And then what else would we, oh yeah, so way riskier to sell here than hold IMO. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would be selling the bottom. That would kind of be wild. This is the, regarding QUBIC itself. Let's see if I can remember what the number was. I think it was right in here. Right in here was the buy zone. I think it was 220 to 319, something like that. Anyway, I was saying this is your buy zone, most likely. I mean, it could sweep under that even, just to scare people, because that's what the market makers do. They try to flush everybody out they can before they take it back up. So yeah, I mean, just imagine, it's all time, right? It's all time based. It's all about being patient. Just imagine if you bought in this area, even if it did come down more. Let's say you bought right here. I mean, even back to here, that's 1.5x or 2x or so. And then back to the very top, you're looking at a 3x. And then, of course, if it breaks all-time high again, which it very well could, then, you're looking at much higher valuations. So just consider it that way. Where is it going to end up if you were to buy in these areas? Think about the future. All right, so let's end this looking at hot contracts. We'll see if we can find any good plays. And again, if you've got Nansen Pioneer, you don't have access to this, but just understand this is one of the few things you don't have access to. I think Nansen Pioneer is an amazing value for what you get. You can make a whole lot of money by using Nansen. And the reason why I like it so much is, and I've been using it since, October, November last year. The reason why I like it so much is it filters out the plays that nobody is really playing. If you're looking to see what smart money's doing, or even just what retail might be purchasing, like if you go over to, if you go to signals here, and you can filter by either smart money token flow, which this is it's only tokens that smart money is either buying or selling. And sometimes this could even give you a short sale opportunity, if it looks like smart money is selling a lot of a certain token. But you can go through here and see what they're buying, see what they're selling. Like right now, you can see they've received a lot of USDC. That's 8 times the recent average. So that would tell you that right now is probably not the best time to be in the market, or at least not buying a lot of things. You can nibble here and there depending on if the token that you're looking at is down 70 to 90%. But if you got something that's up 3, 4, 5x, I wouldn't be buying more of it. In fact, you might want to consider taking a little profits to the side on something like that. So there's a lot of selling going on right now currently. That's what this cent means. So smart money sent this much of OLAS to the exchange to sell it. And there's some things being bought like Pepe, but that's mostly people accumulating. And I would, if it were me, I'm accumulating right now as well. I'm just doing it in small batches. I'm not doing it the same day, big amounts. I'm just, buying a little bit here and there. And then you could also switch to, what else? We could look at just DEX token flow, which that's retail as well. It's not just smart money. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of purchasing of staking coins, that sort of thing. Outflow from a DEX means that people are purchasing this token, DMT. Let's see, Wolf had an outflow. Yeah, it's going up. It's 50% up. So see, a lot of people say, oh, well, Bitcoin's been going down. Nothing, everything is going down at the same time. That's not always true. A lot of these tokens are on their same timer. I will agree that most tokens will go down when Bitcoin goes down, but just understand there's still opportunities out there if you're not into shorting the market. If you're looking for a long, there's still opportunities, and Nansen will help you find that in a lot of cases. So going back to hot contracts, you may ask, what are hot contracts? Mostly it's a way to see where money is flowing to in a much more condensed format. So like, here, let me give you an example. Well, this is in the last 24 hours. And if we wanted to see what only smart money was doing, which is not going to show a whole lot of them, Let's see what token this is, because only one's showing up. Usually you don't want a whole lot of smart money in. STC, I'm not sure what that is, but we'll look at it. And there's definitely some volume coming back into it, but I don't know anything about this token. I'd have to look into it some more. Actually, it's showing no smart money is in this one, so I guess they sold. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that one because I don't, what was that called? SATA chain. You can look that up if you want to. But what I'm gonna look at is, I just want to see what the hottest contracts are across the blockchain. And so I'm going to look at the liquidity pools to see which ones have the most liquidity going through them. And you can see there's a lot of red numbers here. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because Bitcoin's been going down since last night, although it has found a little bit of support today. But here's some of the tokens you may want to look into. RCH, I've seen that one around a bunch. Ondo, DEAI, seems like people are accumulating that one. It says it's up 200% on inflows. I guess we could look at that one. I do have a chart for DEAI. This is one that we actually got in the day it launched. Oh yeah, it bounced right off of secondary support there. But I think it is still bearish overall, yeah. Yeah, it just got an AI sell signal on the daily. Let me see something else here. Okay, so the AI sell signal actually happened up here. So it lost this support level. See how many percentage it's down here. This could be another one to consider. Yeah, 75%. I mean, that's enough to start considering accumulating this one, but I mean, just understand it could come down some more. But again, you know, you're getting a 75% discount. You know, you got to think about it this way. I would rather find the exact bottom. I'd rather be able to find the exact top, but it's just not going to happen. You know, you just have to go with your intuition, go with your gut, and hope that, you know, you've given it enough time to either go sideways or go down, or, you know, it's best if you can find a pattern, but they don't always have a pattern that you can play. Like here on our Discord, I actually posted one. Yeah, here it is right here. So these are the best patterns in my opinion: triangle breakout, falling wedge, consolidation. They present the most profitable patterns or breakouts. It's sad that I looked at this and I thought of a hot dog. I've already eaten two. I must be hungry still. It's not even the right colors, is it? All right, yeah, so that's DEAI, and we'll see what else is showing. Yeah, MAGA has been going crazy. Pew's been going crazy. APUGURL, I mentioned it in the last video. We did 60x on that one. So, you know, that's definitely not the norm. You know, there are some memes that will do 3x, 5x on lately. But actually Pepe was one we did a 5x on, I believe. It might have even gone more than that. And I don't know what it's doing right now, but these are some of the tokens that you can, well, GME, everybody knows about it. KARRAT, that's one that's been showing up more. And I'm not going to go into these. JJ, we made about a 3, 4, I think it might have went 5x. And this was over the last week or so. I'm not bringing up too much of our past history. I mean, we've had a lot of winners, but it's really about what you're finding currently right now, right? It's not really about what you did before. You got to keep making money. And there's losers. I mean, we have our losers too, but we did the best that we can. So if we take off where it says only smart money, if we take that off and we look at what retail is buying as well, which some of this has those staking tokens in, which I don't really like. So let's do this. Let's look at just the last, we want to look at tokens that were created within the last 7 days. How about that? Yeah, so some of the same ones are showing up. Pepe, Guru, Monkey. You have to be careful because some of these tokens are like copycats of the same name. Here's Bow. I know Bow did really well for a while there. I'm just trying to see if there's any here that, I know Frog was doing well the other day. RCH definitely did well. I wonder what this kanji, I think somebody in our group mentioned kanji today actually. So if we look at this on Gecko Terminal, or really it doesn't matter where we look at it, Deck Screen is really the one I like to look at. I mean, it's possible that this is a bull flag, and then maybe it just goes sideways for a little bit, consolidation, and then takes off. I could see that happening. But technically, these are just lower highs so far, so you have to be careful with it. I would probably wait until it got above this level right here. I mean, that would be the safer play, because then you would have some actual market structure where it's creating a higher high at that point. But be careful with memes in general, because some of them are rug pulls. And it's get rich quick schemes for people creating these contracts. Yeah, I mean, I really didn't want to go into this too much. Mostly because, what is this? Mostly because there's not a whole lot of tokens right now that look good. I mean, you got to get pretty lucky to find one that's going to pump right now. But we're still looking, you know, in our group. We look every day looking for alts. So yeah, just remember, as far as the next move up, the next leg in this cycle, and I'm going to wrap it up here because I don't want to talk about it too much today. I want you to think about your mentality more than anything. Because if there's tokens that you really like, that you want to accumulate more of, whether it's QUBIC or whether it doesn't even have to be a token that I've even talked about yet, because I don't care what you get into. The main thing is I want to see you make money, and you need to consider your mentality. Right now is the time to touch grass, but at the same time, if you got one of those tokens that's down 70–90%, you need to, you know, start accumulating that. And I want to bring this guy up here with the little stars and stuff going off, because this is the mentality you need to have. You need to be at peace. If you've never gone through these cycles before, then understand that people like me that are talking about it have been through them, and that's why I'm so calm. We know that there's an initial pump up, then there's a mid-cycle cool off, and then there's another pump, and then that's it. So I still feel like that pump is coming. It may take it 2 to 3 months more before we really get moving, but by the presidential election, usually it has started or begins there. So, you know, just enjoy life is the main thing. You know, don't get wound up about making money. You know, you can have all the money in the world, and you may not be happy. It just really depends on your mentality. You know, money is not the end all be all to things. Really, it's more about family and friends and having experiences, and you know, believing in a higher power. You know, believing in God. That's another big one for me anyway. It doesn't have to be for you. But anyway, I'll wrap it up there. Post any comments, questions below. Hit the like if you liked it, and we will do another one next week. And just, you know, keep an eye on Twitter. I'll post some updates on there if anything significant happens, or if we come across some tokens that are just a really good buying opportunity. All right, y'all have a good week.